Legendary footsteps, the life and legacy of Thucydides. The air was thick with the metallic scent of blood, the ground beneath was slick, betraying the chaos of war. In the distance, the mournful cries of the wounded pierced the atmosphere, mingling with the clatter of armor and the distant shouts of commanders rallying their troops. Thucydides stood at the edge of the carnage, his heart thundering like the drums of war that reverberated in the distance. The sun beat down mercilessly upon his skin, making sweat trickle into his eyes, blurring his vision. Every breath he took was laced with the acrid stench of smoke and death, a harsh reminder of the harshness he sought to document. "It is a struggle for power," he muttered to himself, the words tasting bitter on his tongue. Yet, what power can exist in the ashes of lives extinguished? As he surveyed the aftermath of the battle at Syracuse, a pivotal moment in the Peloponnesian War, he felt an overwhelming urge to capture this reality, not merely as a spectator, but as a historian determined to tell the truth. The soldiers around him continued to shout orders, some wept in anguish, while others cursed the gods for their misfortunes. In that cacophony of despair and defiance, Thucydides felt the weight of history pressing down upon him, a burden he was unwilling to escape. Born into a wealthy Athenian family around 460 BCE, Thucydides' childhood was marred by the looming threat of warfare. The city of Athens was vibrant, alive with the scent of fresh bread baking in the sun-soaked streets, yet its beauty masked a persistent undercurrent of tension. His father, a prominent member of the Athenian political scene, often spoke of the fragility of power. "We are but leaves caught in the wind, my son," he would say, his voice a low rumble that resonated with deep concern. "It takes but a single storm to scatter us." As Thucydides grew, he witnessed the tumultuous events ahead, the rise of demagogues, the shift of alliances, and the slow encroachment of the Peloponnesian War that would engulf his life. The air was always thick with the smell of smoke from the cooking fires, mixed with the salty tang of the nearby sea. It was a place of beauty, yet the cloud of impending conflict hung heavily over the city. His mother's gentle voice often soothed his restless spirit, whispering, "Remember, my child, the mind is the greatest weapon of all. Use it wisely." But the reality of war was unrelenting, seeping into the very fabric of his existence, shaping his thoughts and ideals. Thucydides, ever driven by a desire to understand the complexities of human nature, embarked on a journey to document the war's events. But his early attempts were marred by failures. One fateful night, after weeks of fruitless writing, he crumpled yet another scroll in despair. "What good is my effort if I cannot extract the truth?" he exclaimed to himself, the soft crackle of parchment crumbling in his hands echoing his frustration. The darkness of the room seemed to close in around him, the flickering candlelight casting long shadows that felt like mocking specters of his ambition. "Am I destined to fail?" he wondered, almost pleading with the empty air surrounding him. It was a moment of reckoning, the burden of his aspirations weighed heavy on him. Yet, amid the turmoil, a fire ignited within. The urge to persevere, to uncover the truth of humanity's darkest instincts, began to override the despair. "No," he resolved, "I must continue. If not for my glory, then for the sake of those who have suffered." Thucydides' moment of clarity propelled him into the depths of strategy and warfare, where he would analyze the ingenious maneuvering of the Athenian forces during the siege of Syracuse. One tactic that would later earn him respect was the Athenian strategy of utilizing their superior naval power against the land-based forces of Sparta. "They underestimate our ability to strike from the sea," he noted, a determined gleam in his eye as he sketched out his thoughts. "Control the water, and we control their movements." As he documented these strategies, he noted the Athenian fleet's surprise attack on a Spartan supply line. The salt air nipped at his skin as he imagined the chaos of ships crashing through the waves, the roar of men shouting commands, the splintering wood as Athenian ships collided with their enemies. "They are disorganized, floundering," he wrote with urgency. "The Athenian tactic is not mere brute force but the finesse of a dancer leading the charge." In that moment, he recognized that history did not merely record battles, it revealed the psyche of humanity, forcing leaders to grapple with their decisions and the subsequent consequences. The Battle of Syracuse was a cacophony of chaos and valor, where the soul of a city hung in the balance. Thucydides took a position atop a rocky outcrop, his heart racing as he beheld the unfolding drama. The air was charged with tension, and the sounds of clashing metal and cries of the dying became a symphony of despair. The scent of sweat, salt, and iron mingled in a noxious cloud that hung heavily in the humid air. Thucydides could feel the heat rising, an oppressive warmth that seemed to stifle any remnants of hope. "Keep pushing. We must break their lines," shouted an Athenian commander, his face smeared with dirt and blood as he rallied his men. Their determination was palpable, reverberating through Thucydides' bones. As arrows whistled through the air like angry hornets, the chaos was almost surreal, a tapestry of human resolve and fear intermingled in every heartbeat. Victory, or death, was the rallying cry that echoed through the ranks, igniting the spirit of the soldiers. Thucydides scribbled furiously, capturing every moment, the pride, the desperation, the raw humanity engaged in a deadly dance. In that instant, he felt as if he were not merely an observer but a part of the very fabric of history. Yet in the aftermath of the battle, where one would expect celebration, Thucydides was met with betrayal. He had placed his faith in the Athenian leadership, who he believed understood the weight of their decisions. However, political machinations soon revealed a darker truth. One of his former allies, Alcibiades, turned against him, his betrayal as swift as it was shocking. History is written by the victors, Thucydides, he sneered, a calculating smirk etched across his face as he packed his bags for Sparta, but those who understand the game know it's best to switch sides. Thucydides felt as if the ground beneath him had crumbled, leaving only the desolate landscape of his trust. "You'll regret this," he managed to reply, his voice low but steady, though the fear that gripped his heart was undeniable. As Alcibiades walked away, Thucydides realized the very nature of power was treachery. The realization swept over him like a cold tide, leaving him breathless. His insights would be deemed dangerous, and he would have to navigate a world where loyalty was scarce and survival took precedence over truth. In the years that followed, Thucydides would be exiled, stripped of his status yet not of his purpose. He continued to write, each word a defiance against the capriciousness of fate and fortune. His magnum opus, The History of the Peloponnesian War, emerged from the ashes of betrayal, a vital exploration of the human condition, ambition, and the relentless quest for power. Men are often the architects of their own destruction, he reflected, his eyes tracing the lines of his writing, the ink now a permanent stain on his fingers. His legacy would become the bedrock of historical methodology, his quest for objectivity laid bare the complexities of human motives. He urged future generations to consider not just the events but the underlying currents of human behavior, greed, fear, and the insatiable thirst for power. What remains in the end, he would often ponder, as he put down his quill for the last time, is the truth of our choices. In the end, we are not just the victors or the vanquished, but the narrators of our shared humanity. With a life marked by both the glory of intellectual achievement and the bitter taste of betrayal, Thucydides remains a figure of profound significance. His work endures, a mirror reflecting the human condition, urging us to analyze our actions and the history we create, reminding us that our footsteps are not merely legendary.